Interesting debate that was happening on the floor of the Congress today. Two representatives, actually several representatives, spoke on the lack of privacy that this new legislation is going to allow. Keith Ellison, former candidate for the DNC chair, was speaking on the floor, and he said if the Congress and the Senate is going to pass legislation that's going to allow citizens' browser histories to be sold to marketers, then the people who are actually signing this legislation should proactively turn over their histories, their browser history, like right now. So in other words, if you're so comfortable, according to Keith Ellison, he was saying, if you're so comfortable selling or allowing the citizens of the United States private information, private browser history to be sold to marketers, then turn over your browser history right now. Another congressman talked about underwear that he purchased online for the first time. He's seriously excited about the fact that he purchased underwear online. Totally different conversation. But he pointed out that no one should be able to find out precisely the size, the color, the fabric of his underwear that he purchased online. And even worse than that, not only find it out, but actually have that information sold to marketers. And then marketers turn around and sell it and distribute it to all different sources. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Legislation is being passed through Congress. It's almost we're actually there at this point, and it's really tied back to President Obama's in December what's called midnight regulations that happened underneath President Obama's administration. The FCC issued new rules that regulated how internet service providers secure and protect, quote, sensitive or private customer data as they collect and share it with advertisers or third parties. So, according to the new rules, the new rules, according to the midnight regulations, they would have required that ISPs, internet service providers, offer you, the consumer, an opportunity to opt in order for that information to be passed on to third parties. Pretty standard, right? You see this now in some cases. You get an opportunity to say, do you want to share this information with third-party providers or marketers? And you have the power to say yes or no. This is what the Obama administration put into play. Also, another rule that would have taken effect from the FCC, it regulated how internet service providers disclose to customers what information was collected. So it made it clear, this is what we're collecting, this is what we're viewing, and now you can opt in to determine whether or not you want this information shared. Basically protecting your privacy, protecting your rights as an online consumer. It also required that internet service providers disclose how this information is displayed, and it required that internet service providers disclose when they were victims of data breaches. All right, so all of those things sound pretty reasonable for you to have a browsing experience that is somewhat private, or at least private between you and your internet service provider, and not to have your information sold to someone else. Well, apparently this is not good enough for the Republican Congress and the Republican Senate. And we're moving into a phase where they are trying to override the FCC in order to give ISP providers, Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, the ability to do all of these things without your consent and without full disclosure of what's being collected and who they're selling it to, nor would they have to tell you when that data has been breached. So now you can have all of your browsing history, your personal data, your health concerns, because everybody, somewhere around 11:30 at night, when you see something on your arm, you type it in, what is this round red rash on my arm? And you get a list of things, you click on it. Now the internet is aware, or at least your internet service provider is aware of what your health concerns, right? They understand your shopping habits clearly already. Everybody at some point has consumed online porn, no big deal, but you don't want a third party knowing that you consume porn. It's none of their damn business. Or the type of porn that you like. So now they're able to say, okay, this guy, he happens to like gay porn. So he may not be open and public, but now we know that he's either closet gay or whatever. They have too much information on us. Our internet service providers know us better than our significant others, than our spouses. Shit, they know us better than ourselves. And now it's not a one-to-one relationship with your internet service provider. Congress wants all that information to be able to be sold to marketing agencies, third parties who are able to use big data analytics and to find trends and market to you better, but not only to you, but sell that information to advertisers so that they can market directly to you even more effectively. They understand your political views. They understand your, where you bank, who you bank with. I mean, you could, it's not far-fetched for them to understand how much money you have in your bank, right? It may not be, it's clearly not going to be a one-to-one relationship where you log into Bank of America and now your internet service provider understands there is encryption that's involved, but the connection is there. And the opportunity for data breach and that information to not be told to you is clearly there. So just so you know what we're fighting against, in 2015, this industry was a $22.6 billion industry. It's projected to become a $33.5 billion industry. And this is why Congress, Republicans in Congress, and I'm sure we're going to have some Democrats sign on to this if they haven't already. But Congress as a whole is giving the red light, or the green light rather, to this project where you as an internet consumer and an internet, someone who surfs the web, to use a very old colloquial, you can now be packaged together, all of your data packaged together, sold to third party without your consent. So President Obama's midnight regulations were there to prevent this from happening without your disclosure. Right? Without you being given the opportunity to opt in or opt out. Congress is pushing back. The House of Representatives, they passed the Congressional Review Act. Actually, the Congressional Review Act is previously passed, but the House of Representatives passed the Midnight Rules Relief Act. That's what they passed to amend the Congressional Review Act. And the new Trump appointed head of this FCC paused the new FCC regulations before they took effect on March 2nd. So this is what's going on. The new rules were supposed to take place on March 2nd. Trump appointed someone who came in and froze that. So the new rules have not taken place. And so in the interim, what Congress has done is they're seeking a relief act to the Midnight Regulations Relief Act, right? This is such a relief for corporations, but not for you, right? But the language is such that they make you feel like they're doing this on behalf of you. And this is so that they can take a look at the Congressional Review Act and use that to override the FCC rules. Now, there have to be special conditions for the Congress to override FCC rules, and this is what they're gearing up to do. The FCC rules are on the books. They're on the books as of the midnight regulations in December, the Obama administration, and now Congress is doing what they can to undermine that so that you do not get any transparency into data breaches. You do not get any transparency into what's being collected. You do not get the opportunity to opt in. And now you are at the full, complete, you're completely exposed to marketing agencies and to big data houses that want to get as much data points, as many data points on you as they possibly can. Now, that's the story. Here's my experience with this. This stuff is. So I come from an industry. I come from the marketing industry, and I work for some pretty big marketing companies that actually. They don't get third-party information, not the company that we worked for. But what we were able to do is once we had the information, we were able to create profiles on individuals. You come to our site or you come to a site that's affiliated with us, we were able to make profiles on what you clicked on, what you saw, what you viewed. This is pretty low-hanging fruit. This has been a while for a long time. In my time there, I've worked with other companies that literally want every single data point that they could possibly get on you. Not only what site did you go to, but how long did your mouse hover over a particular line on that site? And what did that line say? And was that something, did you highlight that line? They want this type of granular data on you so that they can make a composite sketch of you as a holistic data point, and say, not data point, but a holistic set of data points, and so that they can say that this is what you are interested in. They want to know everything about you so that that advertisement that pops up on your screen whenever you forget to cut on your ad block, that advertisement can be perfectly designed to get you to click on it, and not only to click on it, but to buy. This goes to the conversation of not only, let me start that sentence over. This goes to the conversation of privacy in general. And we always fight against the government from giving them the opportunity to become big brother. Simultaneously, corporate America is the quintessential big brother. The only thing is that they're not trying to demand that you think a certain way. They just want to milk you for every single dime they possibly can. And so this is all in attempts for them to get a better insight, a better profile into who you are, what you're afraid of, what your health concerns are, what your vices are, what your addictions are, so that they can gather that information and then sell you something based on this new profile. And then take that information and to sell it to someone else for God knows what they want to do. This is what Congress, who's supposed to serve the people, they want you to not have the ability to say, I don't want to opt into that. In fact, I want to opt out from that. And now they're doing everything they can with the help of the Trump FCC chair and this entire environment surrounding the Trump administration. They're doing everything they can to prevent you from having the ability to have privacy online. You're worried about Big Brother in the form of the government. You should, but you should be worried about Big Brother in corporations and corporate America and the free reign that our politicians give corporate America to take every data point about your life they possibly can.